But hey there, my friend, welcome back. In this module, I just quickly want to discuss how to avoid burnout because I've been there. We've probably all been there. I'm sure you've been there. But there are some measures that you can put in place to avoid burnout. So let's go ahead and dive in. So I have this theory. Okay, you know the tortoise and the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. And the same is true no matter what anyone tells you when you are growing an online business, creating courses such as this, or a coaching business. And please understand that the gurus out there, they are selling hustle. There's this hustle culture, and I'm going to totally debunk it. And the reason they're selling it is they are selling overnight success because that's what everybody wants. So again, you can, just because you sell something doesn't mean that it's ethical. So they are selling something that everybody wants, but then everybody gets severely disappointed. And so I don't want that behind my name or my brand or anything that I do because yes, there are moments where, people go out there and they throw up a landing page and everything works out perfect the first time. But that doesn't happen to the masses. But they take those success stories and they say, hey, this is exactly, if you duplicate what I've done, then you're going to go out and you're going to have the same results, which I just call bull. It's not going to happen to everybody that way. So, but this is what they are doing. These people who are selling hustle. They are working hard, yes. But are they grinding it out 24/7? No, they have their systems in place. They're exercising, they're fueling their bodies. If you follow any of these people, you can see that they actually have systems in place and they are taking care of themselves. So what I want you to do is I want you to slow down before we go into this next section here in a minute, or whenever you get to it. I know we got the income to go through, and then we're going to go dive into the work. And that's where the rubber kind of meets the road because there is work involved. And so that's why I want to talk to you about this, just getting clear on this whole burnout before we dive into that. But I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to pace yourself. So I want you to stop believing in the hustle movement. And if you dig into the Bible, I actually did this because I was feeling like several years ago, I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up. I'm missing out on this. I'm missing out on that. I've got to buy this course. I've got to buy that course. I had so many courses at one time and things that I wanted to learn that I was like, I couldn't even get through all of it in a year. And on top of that, it was so distracting that I wasn't actually able to focus on my business. So just slow down a little bit. If you dig into the Bible, you're also going to see this is not what God is asking of you. And remember, first and foremost, that Satan's goal is to wear us out so that we'll quit. So here's some verses to ponder. Colossians 3:23 through 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Psalm 127, 1 and 2. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat. For he grants sleep to those he loves. So this is so great. I mean, you could literally probably meditate on this for weeks or months just to get your heart and your mind in the right place. And then I love this one, 1 Corinthians 9:24. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. So you can think of, if you're in this for the long game, this is not going to be a sprint. It's going to be a marathon. So when you get out of the gate, you're going to want to pace yourself so that you can finish strong. So there's two major problems with hustle that I've found to be true in my own life. We become obsessed with it and it leads to burnout. And obviously this is what Satan wants for each and every one of us, myself included. And then the second is it hurts others, the people we care about most. We become so obsessed and focused on our businesses that, we're waking up early, we're staying up late. When we are available, we're cranky, or the only thing we're thinking about is building the business instead of being in the moments with the ones that we love. And the only reason that I can tell you this is I'm speaking from experience. I mean, if you were to talk to my husband or my children about 4 years ago, I was a crazy person. And so I had to get myself in check. And so I'm sharing this with you because I know that it's so tempting to just keep going. But you have to understand that God's got 100% control over this. If He has called you to do this, He's going to see it through. And He does not want you to burn out. He does not want you to sacrifice precious relationships that He's given you. This isn't why we're doing this. So I just wanted to share that with you. Setting sprints in your business is okay, but you need to pace yourself on a regular basis. So what do I mean by setting sprints? It is okay to schedule a sprint. It's okay to schedule a time where you're like, okay, for the next, 13 days, 15 days, 10 days, 20 days, I have a really strict schedule. Everybody in my life knows about it. Everybody's agreed about it. And I'm just going to get massive amounts. It's going to be explosive work done. And everybody's okay with it. So then you stick to that schedule. And then as soon as you're on that last day and you're wrapping up, you go back to pace yourself. So these are just little bursts of energy that we have in our business. I maybe do them once a year. If I don't have to, I don't. I could very easily be setting a sprint right now to finish this course, but I don't feel like that it's necessary. If I get behind a week, it's okay. The world's still spinning. But there are times in your business where there may be a tug on your heart where you're like, I really feel like I need to focus and I just need to get it done. I've known people to go away to a hotel for a weekend and sprint, so that they're all by themselves. There's no noise. There's no anything. They set up a little mini studio and they're able to just get the work done. They go home and everything's back to normal. So that's what I mean by setting sprints. So when you start to feel overwhelmed and like you're behind everyone else, like in this space, like the marketing community or the coaching community, the online business community, just remember that God has exactly where you're supposed to be. And then, fear of missing out can create some burnout as well and some disappointment. Like I said, there was a season of my life where I was like, oh, I've got to learn this, I've got to learn that. And I had so much on my plate that I started getting frustrated because I couldn't finish the courses. I would start them and I'd be like, I got to work on my business. So I go back to my business. Then I'd see something else and, they're like, oh, it's never going to be this cheap again. It's never going to, we only do this once a year. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm going to need this later down the road. I'm going to buy it, but I'm going to put it on the shelf. But what is wrong is starting to hoard or feel like that if you're missing out on all this stuff that you're not going to get to where it is God's leading you, whatever your end goal is. That is a bunch of malarkey as well. So just be really careful. When you see all this stuff, the information's coming at us so fast, really filter and pray about, is this something that I'm supposed to have in my life now, Lord, or not? Because He's going to bring the exact thing in the perfect timing. So don't let people pressure you into buying something you're not prepared for yet. Again, if you feel led and you feel like it's something you are supposed to put in your arsenal, by all means, go ahead. But I don't want the fear of missing out to create burnout in you as well, or to create disappointment. So recognizing burnout, these are kind of the key indicators. And I'm sure there's more, but these are my key indicators. I just want to share them with you. You feel like quitting. You feel like you're falling behind. You miss spending time with family and guilt sets in. All of a sudden, you lose your spark and what you are doing feels completely pointless, and you start doubting yourself. So this is how to avoid it. If you get to a place where you can sense your emotions going, I almost feel like quitting, don't get to that point. Take a day off or a week or however long, if you need it, be reasonable with yourself. If you feel like you're falling behind, take 1 to 3 days devoted to your goals. Look at what you've accomplished and what still needs to be done. Reorganize, regroup, and use one of those days to take a complete day off to do whatever it is that you want to do. Give yourself permission to relax. If you're missing spending time with family and guilt starts to set in, start planning one-on-one dates, schedule them with each of your family members, or plan something to do as a family, a quick getaway, camping, museum, whatever, just because you need to nurture those relationships. Okay, all of a sudden you lose your spark and you feel like what you're doing is pointless and you start doubting yourself. You need to read your why statement. Remember, we go 7 layers deep. And you need to read your who am I statement. And you need to remember that feeling that you felt, that moment. Go back to that moment when you knew that this is what God wanted you to do next. Go to that place and then pray. And then you can always reach out into our group for encouragement and for prayer. So, and I love this quote. And it's so simple and it's so true. If you get tired, learn to rest, not quit. And you might want to just write that on your mirror or, put a post-it on your refrigerator or put it next to your computer. Whatever it is, don't burn out. That is the biggest thing that Satan wants to happen to you. He wants you to get tired. He wants you to feel hopeless. He wants to exhaust you. Let's just go into this next section and step 2, doing the work, knowing that you are going to pace yourself and you are going to be very mindful about just paying attention to where you are spiritually, where you are with your relationships. And I just can't stress enough about using the Panda Planner, organizing your calendar, and just being a good fiduciary with all of your resources, not just finances, but with your time, with all of it. So I hope that makes sense. This is a very sensitive subject for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like to debunk the hustle movement or debunk, the fear of missing out. And a lot of people in the marketing world, you don't like to, bring Jesus into the mix. But the truth is that you are here for a divine purpose and you feel like you have this call on your life. And I just need you to slow it down, to breathe so that we can go into this next section. And I want to see you finish strong. So that is all. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.